Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my most recent top 5 most carried knives here over the last couple of months. A few things have changed up, a few things haven't, but I'm happy to share this stuff with you. Some of these knives are actually available right now, so I will absolutely be linking them right down below in the description. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks so much to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. The first knife here, or number 5, is absolutely a knife that is available right now, and I found that I absolutely love getting this thing out and using it, and that's the new Chavez Redention with the kickstop flipper. This is one that's in Tanto. I now actually own 3 of these, 2 in kickstop form and 1 regular one. The kickstop variant is just really fun to flip. I'm going to tell you guys right now, the knife is fairly heavy. This is pretty, thick titanium, and the blade geometry is all right. It absolutely will cut and slice and things like that, but really I'm carrying it because of fidget factor, which is not something that I will usually determine what goes into my pocket. This is definitely the biggest, heaviest knife that I carry around. I did switch out the skull clip for the standard clip that it comes with, but just flipping this thing is an absolute joy. This is the Tanto version. I have 2 other drop point versions, which probably would be better for EDC, but I found that this one is rounded enough that it works out pretty well, and honestly that primary edge is thin enough that it'll slice and cut pretty effectively. It's a lot to dedicate to the pocket, but it really puts a smile on my face every single time I get it out. That kickstop flipper that actually disappears until it's time to flip it again, it's just fun to flip every single time, and I've really enjoyed it. I'm not sure that this will stay in my primary rotation for very long, but for the time that it's here, I've really been enjoying it. So you can check these out in multiple forms on lots of different websites. Moving on here to number 4. This is a knife that has made the list many times, and I've actually switched to the smooth one. This is the Demco Ad at 20.5 in titanium and 3V, but I've switched out to the smooth one. This one has actually seen more total use than the textured titanium one. It's the one that's beat up the most, and it's actually been resharpened once already. I don't know why I've switched out to the smooth one. This is the one that I use for size comparisons, but it's just, I don't know. I suppose it's because it slips in and out of the pocket a little bit easier versus the textured one. I still like the appearance of the textured one a little bit better, but this smooth one I think is just, for what I'm doing, in and out of the pocket, it's a little easier. The 3V ones you can find periodically, but I think the ones that I would still recommend the most, because they're like $100 less, or at least $50 less, are the S35VN and G10, or S35VN and carbon fiber variants, which are absolutely available right now. And the benefit there is that you're getting something stainless. 3V is great, and they've done a great job with the 3V on these knives, absolutely. I have not had to sharpen this again, so I think getting that initial surface, whatever, right? Maybe it just got too hot or something. Getting that material off of there has made the edge absolutely amazing. But you're getting a stainless steel with the S35VN variants, and still excellent, amazing edge retention and pretty good toughness, even though it's not quite as good as the 3V. That's what I'd recommend people go for. So you'll find those down in the description. But everybody knows about this knife now. It's still extremely recommendable. I think it's one of the best folding knives of all time, best EDC knives of all time. So definitely why it's in my pocket consistently. Moving on here to number 3. This is the new CRG Pyrite with the, I don't know, reverse Tanto, should I say? Should I dare calling it something? People are going to come after me either way. But this version of the Pyrite with the little opening hole here is just phenomenal. This is a budget knife. This is a $50 knife. If you're new here or you've never heard of the Pyrite, this comes in a couple of different variations. It comes in this blade shape, and it comes in a simple drop point with a thumb stud. It also comes in either stainless steel handles or lots of different colors of G10. Every variant that you can get right now, I will link down in the description, but you cannot go wrong with any of the variations. They are all excellent. They're all lightweight and compact. They're all very easy to manipulate. They're all great for lefties or righties or whatever. This is just a joy. And you'd think that somebody like me wouldn't be able to get joy out of a budget knife, out of a simple budget knife anymore. But when the design is this good, when everything is so good on the knife that, that it can't be ignored, then, it can't be ignored. this is one that probably will continue to make it into my rotation. I just really enjoy carrying it. I don't know what it is about the smooth stainless steel, but that's the version that I like. I think I might also pick up a G10 one just to see. They're absolutely going to be a little bit lighter, right? So that might, I almost said tickle the fancy, and I realized that that's just, no matter what context, it just sounds really bad. This is one that I can absolutely recommend. I would say this is probably one of the best knives that new people can start out with, and also one of the best choices all the way around, whether you're a veteran to the enthusiast knife world, or you know, you're buying a gift for somebody else, right? It doesn't really matter. This knife is extremely accommodating no matter who you are or what your intention is with the knife, as long as your intention is rational knife use and not, you know, tactical couch ninja, whatever, mountain climber. Moving on here to the two that have absolutely dominated my pockets. These first three, they make it in periodically, but these two are in all the time. Let me tell you, this month, number 2 and number 1 are so close together. I had a hard time coming up with which one I've actually been carrying the most. This is actually over the last couple of months. Number 2 is the Hermann Sting in M398. I have quickly learned that this is one of the most preferable EDC knives out there. The only problem with this knife is that it is wickedly expensive. Now, if you guys didn't know, DLT Trading has picked up Hermann knives, which means you can periodically find them, and they have a drop coming soon. I made a community post about it. If you're watching this video at the time that I uploaded it or the day that I uploaded it, it's here in just a few days. But these are extremely expensive. You're looking at, you know, like anywhere from about $680 to $750 for the base versions of these knives, depending on whether they use LMAX, M390, or M398. This one is in M398 and has really shrugged off. I think they're getting this to about 62, which is not quite as high as it can get if we're going full on optimal, but 62 is just fine for M398. Really does not have a problem with anything. I have not beat on this knife, so there's no chips or anything, but that edge is razor sharp. The pocket clip, you know, it's a little bit long for me, but honestly, in and out of the pocket, it's great because of this little area that's sunk in underneath. The texturing is beautiful. The ergonomics are hand melting, and that fully flat ground blade and the size of it, honestly, the manipulation of everything, the bearings on the inside, just the general action, everything about this knife is so wonderful. The Hermann Sting really is just an absolutely fantastic EDC knife. Any knife that Hermann makes, honestly, is amazing. I own 6 Hermann knives now. I'd like to get a slim to carry it daily to compare with this. I've also got the Micro Sting and the Dragonfly, which are both great, but this size I really prefer. I cannot recommend these knives enough. These are partially handmade and partially machine made in Poland, and they are made at a level that is far beyond what we expect to see in the $200, $300, $400, $500 department, whether we're talking about U.S. knives or Chinese knives. These are on a completely different level, even things down to the way that they finish the blades, which is really nice. Like, look at this. Can you see that? They've like eggshelled the blade, like kind of a concrete eggshell. Really gorgeous, really beautiful knives. Cannot recommend these enough, but this has been dominating my pocket. And then finally, the number 1 knife that has absolutely dominated my pocket. It's going to be hard for me to kick the Hermann Sting or the number 1 knife out of my pocket over the next few months at least. It's so funny because I didn't really think that I was going to enjoy this knife so much, but this is the TRM Atom in titanium. This is the reason that I want to EDC a Slim, because the Hermann Slim is very close to the same size as this knife. This guy is a little bit bigger overall than the Sting. It's not that much, actually. I think the Slim actually would be even longer, but it's made me realize, you know, I out of all the knives that I normally carry, here lately I've been carrying smaller knives, and this is on the bigger side, I mean, as far as length goes. But this knife is so unbelievably ergonomically satisfying, and on top of that, I think one of the main reasons I've been carrying it so much is because of these new diamond textured titanium scales. These are contoured and they're just really nice to look at. The clip is very simple, but it works really well, and it doesn't really seem to notice the texturing on the titanium. I think it's because the titanium texturing is pretty smooth. It does offer real real traction, but it's pretty smooth. This thing became way easier to manipulate once I finally put an O-ring on the thumb stud. You can't really put one on the other side because the rubber causes it to bump into the frame, and the blade kind of it doesn't want to peek out, but it makes me think it's going to deploy a little bit too easily, so I always put it just on one side. But that's all it really needs. Being able to deploy this, readily and more efficiently, I mean, it is night and day versus not having the O-rings on there, which they provide on their website. It's just really, really nice. The blade geometry of this is crazy thin. This really has opened my eyes to the ultra thin cutting geometry. This blade does not care. It does not care what it is that I'm cutting. It goes right through it. Obviously, I'm not going to cut rebar or anything. I'm talking about materials that are not as hard as a steel blade. But my goodness, it really goes through. It also has nested steel liners and very thin titanium scales, so folded up, this becomes beautifully compact. It's just an absolute extension of the human hand. The TRM Atom is 100% an evergreen knife, and it is 100% one of the greatest EDC folding knives of all time, which is why it made my recent list. If you haven't seen that video, top 10 greatest EDC folding knives ever, make sure you check that out. This has been a phenomenal experience, and I expect to have this in my rotation for very, very many days to come. These are periodically available, and I will link them down below. Maybe not the titanium textured ones, but at least the G10 or micarta ones. So again, we have number 1, the TRM Titanium Atom. Number 2 is the Hermann Sting. Number 3 is the CRG Pyrite, the new reverse Tanto edition. Number 4 is the Demco Ad 20.5 in 3V and titanium, smooth titanium. And the number 5, did I say number 4 for the Demco? Number 5 is the new Chavez Redention 229 Kickstop, which is just kind of fun to throw in the pocket periodically. Like I said, all of these knives will be listed down below in the description if you want more information, if you want to check them out. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do of course have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.